How much passion do you offer involved in your worship when you're asking the question, why? Hi, this is Barry Phillips with 10-Minute Torah, day 4 of Shimini, which means 8th. We're talking about the 8th day of the Levitical priesthood's inauguration. Very high, set-apart day. So let's remain in Leviticus, or V'ikra, chapter number 10, and start reading with verse 4, which says, And Moshe called to Mishael and to Letzaphan, the sons of Uzziel, the uncle of Aaron, and said to them, Come near, take your brothers from before the set-apart place out of the camp. So they came near and took them by their long shirts out of the camp, as Moshe had said. And Moshe said to Aaron and to Eleazar and to Ithamar, his sons, Do not unbind your heads, nor tear your garments, lest you die, and wrath come upon all the people. But let your brothers, all the house of Israel, bewail the burning which Yahweh has kindled. There's no mistake about it here. These two men that are now dead, Yah killed them. And Aaron is being told, don't be upset or cry about this. What is going on here? The fire that has been offered is a profane fire. The word profane here, it is the word zara, Z-A-R-A, if we transliterate it from the Hebrew. It's rooted in the word zur, transliterating again, Z-U-W-R, which means to turn aside. It is a word from which we derive the idea of prostitute or the idea of adultery. So this is no light transaction of offense here. This is a great offense to Yah. It is very profane. To turn aside, it's the idea of a traveler who turns aside off of the road and goes and stays in an inn, which we all do that. But it's the idea then connected to that. You are at a place that you do not belong to, or where you are a stranger or a foreigner, being where you don't belong. It's not your place. And it wasn't their place to do what they were trying to accomplish. So as they entered into Yah's presence, as they did, they were seen as foreigners, strangers to Yah, who were trying to access the presence where they were not invited. In just plain simple terms, they were offering Yah worship that he did not want, nor did he ask for. Now, let's look at Aaron here. He is involved in the greatest day of his life. He is the high priest of Israel. He's a man in excess of 83 years of age. This is it. I mean, it doesn't get any greater than this opportunity. And everything has been a grand success, as we discussed yesterday. And then all of a sudden, he turns and looks, and there are his two eldest sons dead on the ground, perhaps smoke coming up out of their bodies. And he has to be shocked and stunned and horrified, speechless. And then Moshe, his brother, walks up to him quickly. Perhaps he grabs him by the arm and looks him dead in the eye and says, Do not cry. Don't you take your headdress, your high priestly headdress off, this turban. Do not remove it in an act of grief. Resist the urge to reach up and grab your clothes and rend them in great remorse and grief. Don't cry. Do not shed tears. And he says the same thing to Eleazar and Ithamar, his remaining sons. At this moment, at this very, very instant moment, Aaron had a decision to make. A decision that involved a job that he didn't ask for. Moshe didn't campaign for this job. Yah had said to Moshe, go and take your brother. Take Aaron and make him high priest. And in the back of Aaron's mind, as we also discussed earlier, there had to be this thought of, I failed so greatly with that gold calf thing. And now he has to be wondering, am I being punished for what that I was just atoned for? What's going on here? And at that moment, he had to ask the question, how much do I want to do this? How much do I want to serve the Most High in this role? Did he even want to continue? Was he willing to say to Moshe, as soon as I walk away from this presence, you can have these garments back because I don't want them? He had to be in a great state of grief. And it would be unimaginable that he was not in such a mindset. Yet, as we read on, he went through the remainder of the protocols that were required of him through the rest of the day. There are times where all of us have asked the question, why? A loved one suddenly departs. You or a loved one going through some great crisis of health or finance or relationship or whatever the case may be. And life seems to be devastating to you. At that moment, when the hardship has come on you, the court case goes against you, the relationship you trusted in falls suddenly apart, some shock of life hits, and you are wounded and crushed. At that moment, do you stop and lift your hands and start singing Amazing Grace or whatever your favorite worship tune might be? Is that when you start yelling out how great thou art to the top of your lungs? It hurts. Life at times hurts. And we have, again, all asked the question, why? But at that moment where we're trying to process whatever is hard upon us, we have to have a foundational truth that is blasting trumpets into our spirit and grabbing us by our elbows and girding us up and holding us up. There has to be this steely reinforced move that straightens our shoulders and our backbone, where we realize, Yah, you are righteous and set apart and the Most High. And I don't understand. I may never understand. But listen, I trust you. It's as simple as that. It comes down to the question whether or not we trust him. That is, that if not in this life, then in that which is yet to come, that we absolutely must believe will take place with all of our being. That at that time, Yah could reveal to us the why, the answer to the question why. And on that day, and in that time, there may be millions upon millions standing in line wanting to come and ask the question, why? Then again, the splendor of that day may be so overwhelming that the whys that we would ask now are not even to be considered then. If you read the end of Hebrews chapter 11, you will find that there were those who suffered greatly, and yet they trusted him. May Yah enable us in all of our life events, good, bad, and otherwise, to trust him for he is trustworthy. I hope to see you again tomorrow. Until then, shalom.